Welcome to my portfolio. I'm Melissa Moser, and this is my portfolio that I designed using Wix.com. This is my homepage. On my homepage, I inserted a picture of myself and included the skills I have learned and developed through this program at USF. I also have my autobiographical narrative where I reflect on my experience at USF and being in this program. Some key parts were that I compared it with being a full-time teacher and graduate student, saying it was not always easy, but it helped me to build my skills of time management and perseverance. I hope to one day not only create and design curriculum and learning materials, but utilize other skills gained from this program, including graphic design and web design. One of the most challenging aspects of this program for myself was web programming and learning new coding languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Even though this was the most challenging aspect of the program, it was also the most rewarding. Upon accurately creating a website or interactive piece of a site, I felt great joy and accomplishment. Seeing the hard work and determination I had during these activities finally come together to create a working piece made it worth the struggles and obstacles. I am looking forward to continue my journey of accomplishment, struggle, perseverance, hard work, commitment, and joy through the opportunities presented to me in the future with instructional technology. Moving on to my actual portfolio, I have my introduction, which tells a little bit about the portfolio, how it demonstrates my knowledge gained and reflections from my time in the master's program here. I have also demonstrated my ability to meet each of the AACT standards by providing my different artifacts that I'll go through next. And each artifact is presented with a description of the creation, what I learned during its creation, and how it meets the associated AACT standards, as well as the competencies for instructional designers. This entire master's program helped me to realize the importance of adequate technology use and design in instructional processes, as well as gave me a variety of tools and resources to directly implement in my current role as a middle school teacher. Not only do I have many resources and tools to directly use with my current students, but I also have a variety of options and opportunities for career options in the future. With my growing toolkit of knowledge, most gained from this program on instructional technology, I feel prepared for a career in the field and excited for this new journey to begin. Moving on to my artifacts, I broke them up by standard, so I will go to the first AACT standard, which is on content knowledge. I provided 3 different artifacts here. The first one I provided was a graphic organizer that I created while I was enrolled in Psych Foundations in the fall of 2018. This graphic organizer I made on Graphing Slope in Intercept form, as that's something I currently teach with my middle school students. Graphic organizers are a great way to structure content and make it easier for learners to comprehend. This demonstrated the standard 1 of AACT standards by creating where I demonstrate the ability to create instructional materials that are appropriate. The second artifact I included for Standard 1 was a screencast that I had made on Quizlet. This screencast was used for selecting appropriate technology that enhances students' learning. This went along with Standard 1 because I did select the appropriate technology and showed how to use it. The third artifact I used for Standard 1 was a mini research paper on gaining and maintaining students' attention in a math classroom with the use of appropriate technology. This demonstrated my ability to assess and evaluate the effective integration of appropriate technologies, as this was a paper and composed with many educational and design theories, as well as strategies to engage and motivate students with the use of technology in a math classroom. At the bottom of each standard page, I list the competencies and skills for instructional designers that were met through each of these 3 artifacts. Standard 2 is on content pedagogy, and the first artifact I used was a job aid. This went along with the creating aspect of Standard 2, where candidates apply content pedagogy to create appropriate applications of processes and technologies to improve learning and performance outcomes. And job aids are a great resource to guide and direct users on appropriate actions to meet specific goals. Job aids can also enhance learning as they can be used as a reference tool. The second artifact I used was a branched training assignment with Adobe Captivate. So we first had to create a linear module assignment using the same software and then extended our knowledge by creating a branch module. I actually included both the Word document that I wrote up for this and the actual branched assignment. So this was the Word document I wrote explaining my assignment. And then this was the actual branched assignment. I put it through a PowerPoint and created it myself, but it did look remotely like this. The third artifact I used for Standard 2 was a research paper I had completed on Web 2.0 tools and their uses in education. This went along with the standard of ethics, where we create candidates design and select media technology and processes that emphasize the diversity of our society. And then at the bottom of the screen again, I listed all of the competencies and skills for instructional designers that were met through these three artifacts. The third standard was on learning environments. I first showed a project I had completed in tech-based instruction. We were given the opportunity to revise or recreate an existing course development guideline for the faculty at USF. I used different Mayer's principles for this, and this showed how I can create instructional design products based on learning principles and researched best practices. The second artifact I used for the third standard was an FEA that I created, a front-end analysis, to lay the appropriate groundwork for creating instructional design materials. So this went along with assessing because I used multiple assessment strategies to collect data to improve instructional practice by creating this FEA. So here was my front-end analysis. The third artifact I had used here was a PowerPoint that I had created on flipped classrooms and blended learning. I was able to research these two different types of learning presentations and environments, and I came to the conclusion that both of them could be extremely beneficial for learners. This type of learning incorporates both technology and collaborative structures, and it's based around foundational and effective principles, theories, and practices. I also again listed the different competencies and skills for instructional designers at the bottom of this page. Moving on to Standard 4, I again picked 3 artifacts to demonstrate my knowledge and how I met Standard 4, which was professional knowledge and skills. The first artifact I used was a project that I had collaborated on with 3 wonderful ladies, and we made a learning module we called Happy Camper. There were different parts of this semester-long project where we had to conduct design-based research, we had to write a proposal for our learning module, we had to create the actual instructional module, and we used Articulate 360 and Storyline and put them together. We collaborated throughout the entire semester and the entire process in many different formats using Skype, Google Docs, email, text, and in person. The second artifact I used was for reflection on practice. I was able to analyze and interpret my findings on different instructional technology practices through my final paper on emerging technologies and learning. I had to discuss my vision for the classroom futures, and I decided to place an emphasis on the use of augmented reality. My third artifact for this standard I again apologize. I again had the opportunity to work with those three same wonderful ladies that I worked on the Happy Camper project with. And this time we developed a computer-based instruction module based on a need of students in our program at USF. So we had to actually conduct research to determine if there was a need for our module, and we discovered there was. So we created and worked collaboratively on this project for helping students navigate Adobe Photoshop. So this, again, at the bottom, I had my competencies and skills laid out for these three artifacts. Moving on to the last AECT standard, which was standard 5 on research. I again had 3 artifacts listed that showed my ability to demonstrate this standard. The first artifact had to do with theoretical foundations, where I provided a rationale for my knowledge of the contribution of research to instructional technology. So for the fall of 2017, I actually created a PowerPoint demonstrating the history of instructional technology and interactive media. The second artifact I used, I made in Psych Foundations in the fall of 2018. I had to apply formal inquiry strategies, and I created a case study on a young elementary age student. I described and analyzed the student's developmental needs by providing appropriate developmental theories and concepts, as well as the student's learning needs by providing appropriate learning theories and concepts. The third and final artifact I had used for my portfolio was a research paper I had completed on the impact on using augmented reality on student engagement and motivation in a middle school. And then again, I listed my competencies and skills for instructional designers that were pinpointed by these 3 artifacts for standard 5. I then have my most up-to-date resume, which includes my education both here now at the University of South Florida with my Master's of Education in this program of instructional technology and my undergraduate degree at Westchester University, my certifications for teaching, my current teaching experience where I teach now at Madeira Beach Fundamental, and all of my past teaching experiences. At Video Guide, I will place in this video guide, and then I have my contact. So thank you so much for checking out my portfolio. I'm so excited to continue this journey in instructional technology.